It's a great day. My name is Shay Brown, the happy entrepreneur, and welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the number one business development and revenue focused late night show in the country where we're on a mission. And our mission really is to inspire, our mission is to empower, and our mission is to provide you, that's right, you, the hard working entrepreneur, with all of the resources that are necessary to execute that big vision you have for the people you were called to serve. And on this episode, we have the one and only Michael Wynn, who's in the building. He'll be talking about your habits will determine your level of success. What's going on, Michael? How are you?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic on this cold day here in Michigan, but it's a wonderful day.
Fantastic. Depends on where you are in the world and what time it is, but you're right. It is cold, depending on when they get a chance to see this. Um, Before we get started, I know we're talking about determines your level of success, and at the risk to sound like a novice here, success means so many different things to so many different people. So we can make sure we're on the same page throughout this whole conversation. What is, I don't know, your definition of success these days, and what does it even look like?
Yeah, success looks different for everyone, and it took me a while to figure that out. One of the chapters in my first book, Habits Don't Lie, is target success. We often find that somebody else's success could be mine until we find our own success. We go through a process of trial and error and finding our happy spots, knowing that it's something that I can do every day, I can wake up to. I don't have frustration because somebody else is doing it and I want to do it, but it's my success. It's what I do, you know, and I can do it over and over and find ways to tweak it to get better.
Now, are there different forms? Let's just talk about for a moment. Let's just address the elephant in the room. For the person that's like, I'm trying to be successful financially, Shay. I'm trying to have plenty of money in the bank so I can do things for my family, my community, and make a difference for other folks. Let's talk there. Now, I could have started with health, but take a moment and talk about um, why do people struggle? We'll talk about this for a moment with having financial success habits when it seems like they can go to Instagram any day they want and get this, raw thing going on. They can certainly turn on any YouTube channel and get raw. But the question for you, my friend, is why do people struggle today with financial success? What's holding them back?
Well, I can tell you from my own perspective as an experience, I am a certified financial literacy trainer. And the first problem, we must all understand that Americans are only 57% financially literate. So what that means is that how do we learn? When we're in high school, we learn at one time in life, I'm an older person, uh, what it means to finances, what finances mean, personal finances. So just trying to understand that and going forward, sometimes we don't have it passed down to us. Sometimes we see other people and believe and hear what they say, and it might be our thoughts of it becoming successful. But you have to develop, and me being a habit success strategist, you have to develop habits to create an area of, say, for instance, financial stability. That's appreciating breaking even each time in order to get to financial freedom. People have to develop a mindset. It's really a mindset of how do I find my success through finance. You're right. You're exactly right, Shay, when you say for every area, there's other thought processes of what is success. When it comes to finance or financial literacy, we have to put a lot of effort into knowing how much do I want to save? Do I have a habit structure to save at least 10% every time I get paid? And then I will develop an attitude through that where I'm going to grow and be successful. And of course, there's legacy and generational wealth and all those other things that come with it. But we have to change our mind and our thinking first.
So, what do you say to the person that's listening right now? Because we have a lot of dualpreneurs, by the way. They work full time jobs, they're full time entrepreneurs. And Shay, that sounds great, but can you ask them the loaded question? Like, what would you say to someone like myself? I got to get going. I get it. I got the right mindset. I believe I read the books. But if he had to say, hey, here's step one, step two, step three, and I know it's a broad audience out there, but for those that want to get to a place where financially they're a little better off, and I'll just mention it this way if I can to frame it for you, because you might have two different paths. We have one path of folks, he can handle this, ladies and gentlemen, who just want to be financially secure. Let's call that. They say, God, man, James, how do I get to 6 to 12 months? Like, what's one or two things you recommend? Because I just want to be secure. 6 to 12 months in the bank, I am okay, and I can make it work. That's one group. Again, it's a loaded question, but he can handle it, ladies and gentlemen. And then there's the other group that we want to talk to. And they're like, well, shoot, I got 6 to 12 months in the bank. I'm good, but he doesn't understand. I want to leave a legacy. He don't understand. I want to be financially independent. I want to get to a point where my money is making me money and I'm making the right moves with the money I have. So you might have to talk to them two different ways. One, they just want to get to financial security, and the other, financial independence. You know what I mean? Where their money makes
Exactly.
the money.
Exactly. And I often tell my clients or anyone I'm talking to, there's called a plan, whether it's a business plan or a personal plan. You have to first identify what are my goals. Just what you said. I want to be secured. So that process takes time to understand that I have to find a good financial planner, follow what he's saying, make sure that if it's a certain age level, then you have to decide on how conservative you want to be. You want to make sure that you have enough income that is going to support you or secure you in your older life. When you have extra money that is just there, it needs to work for you. You need to create a passive income trail and understand that that's the business plan where you're going to put together and follow the plan, and that is called really following a budget plan, tracking income and expenses, and understanding that it's not going to just work. You have to work it and understand how do you move it to opportunities. When there's certain opportunities that come up and you have the resources, you need to act then. Some people get a little jumpy and irritated, and then they end up losing out or losing their investments. So there are two ways to look at it, just as you said, and we have to be vigilant of that.
You know, as you're talking, they're like, Shay, this guy's he's all in. He's talking about habits. And I don't want to sound funny again, but they're thinking, what are some habits that I might need to have for my health? Because what good does it do me to have money and my health is not there? So again, it's a broad range of audience. A number of these folks work full-time jobs. By the way, Michael, they're full-time entrepreneurs. They got a lot going on. They take care of their family. They take care of their husband or the wife or the kids. Some of them are caregivers. Some of them are doing so much in the community. I know all of y'all are busy. So here's the question. Habits for folks that are busy, doing a whole lot right now. What are maybe 1, 2, or 3 suggestions you can make because they really want to form the right habits for their health as well? Or are these habits transferable?
Yes, that is a great question. And I get that oftentimes because I spent 25 years as a financial specialist, but people say, where did the habits come from? Well, my backstory is that 20 years ago, I had a bipolar depression disorder. And the fact is that that is where we don't understand health and wealth connects. You can't have good wealth if you don't have good health. And the fact that not taking care of myself, I'm just one of the men that we are accused of not understanding our health is how important it is. But individually, you should understand that we have to make it a habit to create a space that we feel good. Because I always say stress leads to the rest. The rest is chronic stress, depression, bipolar, and anything else that comes with it. So we have to make a motto if we work as hard as we do, we have to take time for self-care. Self-care comes in so many ways because I'll later get into my story of how I found how important it was. But the fact is that we have to realize that every area, when I say as habits, there's a habit matrix is what I came up, that you can apply that process to just routinely trying to get your reward through that habit process.
I love it, man. It's a perfect segue, folks. Some folks haven't read your bio. They're like, I read his bio, Shay. I've done the research. I know who this guy is. And there's other folks looking behind you saying, he talking all this trash, Shay, but who is this person? I mean, I see all the plaques on this wall. Got a lot of books. As you read all these books, a lot of stuff going on. So slow down, man. Have a moment. Let Michael tell us who is he. So you know the question is coming up. Tell us your
Yeah.
backstory, obviously. And then number two, what was that defining moment that led you to what you're doing today so the audience knows who is this Michael on the other side?
Yeah. I have an incredible story. To be honest, I started in kids. The kids, we didn't have as much. We, it was 9 of us in our family. That's my mother and father and 7 children. And every year, my mother would send us to Arkansas. My great grandfather had a farm in Arkansas, and he would always put us to work early in the morning. And we never understood it. He used to have this saying, "Write the plan and work the plan." And that's what we do. We get up early and we did the things that we had to do. But unfortunately, we lived a life of we didn't have much. But my mother always taught us about abundance and never scares you to understand abundance, the love that we have, and just forming a way of growing that way. Attitude that I had to do so much. It led. I got into college. I graduated with accounting degrees. I went on to my business, and I was fortunate to have 3 financial certifications and being a licensed builder. I was selected as the auditor in charge of the first casino being built in Detroit. But I was going at a pace that I wasn't realizing I wasn't taking care of myself. And so one morning, I was preparing for a meeting because, like I said, the casino was opening, and my heart started racing, started sweating. I passed out. Lo and behold, I was actually diagnosed prior to that, but I just neglected the process of taking medication. The medication was very powerful. And during that time that I passed out, I realized I had to do something. And I really got with my therapist because she was like this coach that said, "I'm gonna cut the time. I understand where you're going." And she actually identified habits was being a unique. She drew for me habits because of my background that I was, my educational background. So I listened to her in putting together this process of daily affirmations, positive affirmations. I had to get up every day and really buy into this and that speaking to myself and who I was, challenging my negative thoughts. And the biggest challenge was creating a positive environment. So imagine being in a casino and trying to create a positive environment. So I had those challenges, but I did. You had the people that come up to you and they had their thing going on, and that was your situation to either direct them or fix it. So, in the interest of finding a habit matrix, I determined a habit is a goal to set, and the goal was the results that I wanted to achieve. But my process, the habit process, would lead me to the results that I wanted. So just doing that over and over, I found a way to learn how to actually cure myself. So within 6 years of that timeline, it was cut in half. The average doctor tell you you're going to be on medication, and I was on some strong stuff, lithium, Prozac, and then they even gave me Prozac and Depakote. They didn't want to know what Depakote was for seizures. Well, the doctor said, "Let's try this together." So went through that process, and as I went through my victory, took my victory lap, I can remember this quote from Maya Angelou that said, "Once the healing takes place, go out and help someone." So I had many areas to work in, and the first one I chose was financial literacy. So I used that to go out and help people, finding solace through helping others because they didn't know that I was going through something. I just wanted to be there, to celebrate their small wins and their tiny breakthroughs and get them motivated in how we're going to fix this 57% financially literate rate. And that was one of the areas that I really turned around, even being a professional. And I don't want to get too much in the health part of it, but I'll tell you, for most people who struggle with mental illness, they know how to hide it. And as a professional, when you hide something like that, you only harm yourself if you're not going to follow through. So in that whole process, I was able to use that springboard with habits, and I did a lot of research with the book, 7 Habits for Highly Effective People, James Cleary, and I put together a lot of information that really helped me through this whole process of living.
I love this topic. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for being transparent. I couldn't wait. I know there's a philosophy that's been overstated, but it's so true that people form habits
Yes.
and habits form futures. And you're sitting there helping us all really get our future together. And that's so needed. If you had to share, one, two, or three of your own success habits that you not only talk about in your book or you preach about and share with other folks, and if someone was on the other side saying, "I'm going to write down one thing, two things, and three things," and it might not be in order, obviously. What would you leave them with? I mean, we got a lot more to go, but I'm just curious. And ladies and
Yes.
gentlemen, I want you to lean forward right now because he said a lot about health. He said a lot about finances, and certainly these habits can help you in your relationships. They can help you in your career. They can help you in your community and so many other areas of your life. So try to boil it down if you can, but give us one, two, or three of your success habits, by the way, that should you
Yes.
adopt it on the other side, you too can have the success you want.
Yeah, I have seven, but the out of the seven, the three that I would speak of is visualize faith, be real, being authentic, and just win. My name is Win, and it was one of my habits, along with the other habits. But actually, I had to get myself to understand that faith is just seeing something already happening because I visualize myself being well and I create that space in my mind that I'm visualizing that faith. That's the most important thing that I can tell anybody is that you have to see yourself actually successful. You have to see yourself actually getting through whatever you're going through. And you have to believe that it is because you're going to have your setbacks. And boy, did I have mine. And being real, I was actually working with one of the best authenticity trainers at the time. And I got my certification actually through there as a certified authenticity coach. But I had to find a way to understand being authentic because I can't be nobody but Michael. So when I went through that process, this grid that was created, speaking of the inner voice, the outer voice, an expressive voice. I found, and it was amazing that this person, one of her grid points was lifestyles, which talks about how do your habits show up in your life. So we connected, Dr. Norma Hollis and I connected so well with understanding that. So I always say be real. That is one area that you have to really understand because you can't be nobody else. You can be your unique self and you will appreciate yourself every single day when you get up with your daily affirmations and say, I love you, Michael Wynn. I love you even more today than I did yesterday. And that last one is the attitude of winning. My last name is Win, and I play it everywhere I can. Wednesday, of course, is my favorite day of the week, Winsday, because you have to have an attitude. What does it take to win? It's not always monetary. It's the relationships you have. It's the people you connect with. It's how you feel about yourself. It's how you speak about yourself. Those are the things that I believe are important.
I love it, man. Thanks for sharing. We have a segment here called Today is My January 1st. And for those folks that wait to every night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I know you can't wait to say those words and release it. Today is my January 1st. For all the new folks that are joining the show for the very first time, welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show. We're glad you're watching. We're glad you're here. Please follow us and stay tuned. But today is our January 1st is our personal mantra. And it represents at the Happy Entrepreneur Show, a fresh start. It represents a do-over. Today is my January 1st means the past, no matter how bright it has been or how dark and gloomy it is, the past no longer equals the future. And so my question to Michael on the other side is two parts. Number one, when you hear those words, today is my January 1st, what do you hear? And number two, what was another setback or challenge you had in your life, and how did you bounce back from it?
Okay. The first one is get going, no excuses. You think about what you said you're going to do. And when you take your inventory, you always should take that inventory at the end of the year and be, now I wouldn't say hard on yourself, but understand that you have to be focused on what you need to complete. And when it comes to me, I'm working on coaching programs. I did all of the other trainings and I did all the things, but the people I want to reach is the people that need help understanding financial literacy. It's a crucial area. People we look at it. Some people look at it as being technical, but we have to understand how important it is. So that is my area that I really thought about in January the first, and I'm really still working hard at accomplishing that goal. My other question is yes, we all have to understand bounce backs, setbacks. How do we bounce back? I had, God, one of the most um, interesting says I went through my process of healing. During the last months, 2 months or so, as I was healing, my mother was actually dying and didn't know. Um, and within 15 days, they said she had 15 days to live. And we had this conversation and this connection. And what she wanted me to do, the energy, is to look after my sister and my brothers. It's seven of us. But the most important thing is in that process, when she died, I had another sibling die of the final year, and my sister committed suicide. So I'm here who healed. And by the way, my sister was in the process of trying to help herself. She was going through a divorce, and I was working with her on how to. So that was devastating for her to commit suicide because she loved my brother, who actually died from a medical malpractice. And when he died, she just had, I don't know, I can't get in her mind that opportunity to end her life. So my setback was I cannot lose everything that I learned because I got people to help. And so what I did is I took my space. I remember my therapist talking about creating a space or challenging yourself. We're going to always run across challenges, even the everyday challenges that I have when I want to get in that negative space in meetings or wherever I am. I found my niche is water. I go in a room, restroom, I'll turn the water on and just think about just the flow of water. I had to be around it. So when my mother died, and then my brother died, and my sister died, I was losing touch from what I learned. So I had to connect with that my paradise. And once I did that, I was strong for my sister and my other three brothers. So we were able, they didn't see as much as I was hurting, they didn't see the hurt. They knew the pain. They were worried about me because they knew what I went through. But I got through that. And sometimes we take every situation and believe in truth. Go back to visualizing faith that we'll get through it. We just have to figure it out. We'll get through it.
We'll get through it, man. Again, I appreciate you just being authentic on this with this
Yeah.
particular conversation, and I'm curious. What do you enjoy most about what you're doing these days? I can feel the passion. I can feel the
Yeah.
excitement as you're talking. It's pouring out of you. What do you enjoy most about the work you're doing these days?
The work is making a difference. There's 27, 26 states in this country that require high school students to graduate and what are personal finance. Michigan just became one in 2022. Well, it took them 10 years. We started in 2023, and just getting with the people, convincing lawmakers that we have to make a difference. It's because we have to understand our pathways with finance is not just the now, it's the generation of wealth and knowing how to pass instructions, down, talking to mentors, to young mentees get them to understand how important it is to take leadership in their family, understand the value of having investments and an income and able to do things for themselves and others. So I really enjoy when the ones that really understand this is what I need to do. And they call you and they kind of connect with you and want to stay on track. It's a lot of work to be done, but that is what I really enjoy.
Yeah, what do you do when you're not out saving the world, man, making a difference for folks,
Yeah,
allowing them to build their
yeah.
finances?
My wife has really got me. When my second wife, we connected, and that was her thing. She loved cruises, so I didn't know if I was going to be into that, but most of the time you're on the water. I like water, so
Yeah, which
I do
which
like
um which
cruises.
cruise line do you like? I mean, not that they're paying you, but I'm just curious. There's a lot of cruise lines. Is
Yeah,
one of you guys just get on any cruise line?
Norwegian. No, no, she goes to her. She got her favorites. Norwegian, I think we go most of the time, and
Cool.
Paradise.
Yeah.
And we just go and we like jazz, so we get out and we spend time that way. And of course, between the two of us, we have 9 grandkids, so we watch and we filter them to grow. I have an
Yeah.
amazing relationship with my habits. In instance, I have 3 kids, but I have an awesome. My daughter, she just took grab of it. She started out in brain and cognitive studies 5 years. She went to Michigan, University of Michigan, for 11 years, which was amazing. And then she changed and went to public health. She was thinking that she was going to be in brain and cognitive studies, and she did her med schools, and now she's a gynecologist, board certified got in college. But I spend the time just really appreciate when I connect with her, how she tell me the stories the way she see me. Because these guys where you want to build your relationship with was different. When you go through bipolar, you're not the person that you want to be. You have a bad relationship because of the way you speak to her. But she was always there for me, and she listened well, and she really took heed of her education, because to go to University of Michigan for 11 years is an awesome accomplishment. So those things right there really, uh, it really makes me feel that what I'm teaching and what I'm doing is making a difference.
That's amazing, man. Any particular place that you and your wife like to go when you're on these cruises? I mean, are you on the islands like Mexico and
She
that side? I mean, or does she just cruise all over the world? Because there's a lot of different ways.
no,
I'm
she
just
she
the
loves
audience
the
is just
Caribbean. We
curious. You
all
can't
we
leave us
all
on the
over.
edge. They want to know like where do you like to go when you're cruising?
She loved the Caribbeans, and she find a way. We'll go to St. Lucia's, St. Martin's,
Oh, I love
and
it.
farther out, and actually Argentina and some other places that we have been. She's going. I haven't been to Brazil. She's been there a couple of times. We've been to Hawaii a couple of times, and we find our way that we will work. She still have her business, and so we have to take a time off, and that's part of self care. You know that you have to really have that me time, and it's got to be in your schedule. And that's those are some of the things that I really like.
Oh man, that's amazing. Well, one of the questions I like to ask as we come down the home stretch, I know you're giving us so much of your time. You can always make more money, but you can't make more time. So I know you're giving us some precious resource now. But the question is, what's one of the best pieces of advice you've ever been given? And I'll frame it for the audience that you've had so many mentors along this journey of life, I'm sure. You've read so many books along this journey of life. I can't count the amount of hours I spent in YouTube University and so many other places. But if you had to say, hey, here's one piece of advice that I hold near and dear to me that I want to share with the audience, the question, what's one of the best pieces of advice you've ever been given?
The best piece of advice that I've ever given, and that was amazing, is I had a coach that told me to think, repeat. And I never understood what he meant. In fact, I mimicked that in my book, Think Repeat. He always says that when you get to a point that you know you got it right, don't change it. Believe into what it is, but just think repeat. Build something around what you did and did well. He said, we oftentimes don't think that we have to change something. We don't always have to change something. If it worked, just make it more of, but think repeat is what one of the best pieces of advice I got. Because when I was in that process, I was giving up many times, and I said, this isn't working. But I constantly can hear him saying, you got to keep just going through it. It's gonna work. You know.
Fantastic. As we come down the
Yeah.
home stretch, two-part question. Number one, what type of clients are you looking to work with these days, if any? I don't know if your firm is booked. And number two, how can folks best connect with you so they can stay in this conversation over and beyond the time you and I had today?
Yeah. The first thing is I like to connect with people that have, a business leaders, organizations that actually have organized or understanding the value of habits or thriving to repetitive, trying to make a winning situation, develop growth development, that have an understanding that I'm willing to do something over and over or create a habit matrix for me. So I am mentor and coach people that are starting out in business and really have a great attitude of just growing it in business and passing on some of their understanding, like a legacy law, that you pass it on to even your resources, how important it is. And the best way to find me is you can go to michaelwynn.com. That's WYNN, or you can go to coachwin.com, and that's WIN. That'll be Coach Win. And of course, I'm on the other social medias. You'll find me through on Instagram. There's Mike Win Habits. So,
I love it, man. Thanks so much for being on the
yeah.
Happy Entrepreneur Show. We appreciate it. Glad I got a chance to have eye-to-eye contact with you recently down in Columbia, South Carolina. And looking forward to
Yes.
connecting with you again, although I know we were in Florida a couple months ago.
Yes. Yes. Sure will. It's great. It's great to see you again, too, as well.
Thank you.
Yes.
And thank you to the audience. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being here, by the way. Without you, there is no show. So we appreciate you being here. Appreciate every like, every comment, every time you pay it forward, every time you share this message from the bottom of our heart. We appreciate it. And I never get tired. Every night, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, sharing with you that you are an overachiever, that you are someone that's amazing. You're someone that's incredible. You're someone that's making a difference in the world. You're someone whose gifts and talents are needed. So continue to be a world changer, because I believe for you, today is your January 1st. And because of just that one reason alone, your best is still yet to come. We ain't seen it yet. Your best is yet to come. Your best is yet to come. With that being said, my name is Che Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone, and we'll make some good things happen. We connect again next time. God bless. We wish you success. Thanks a lot, Michael. Appreciate you. Peace, everybody.